feel. Loneliness in a dark time of your life. And despair knocks at your door. Just trust for you. There is a God you can feel near you. You're not alone. You can see with your own eyes. He's with you. There is no more reason to cry. To close down in yourself. Open up your soul and receive His love. The Holy Spirit will bring the help you can feel near you. You're not alone. You can see with your own eyes. Peace with you. He heals your soul and gives you another heart. Don't you understand? Don't you think? Just live. This is your new life. You can feel near you. You're not alone. You can see with your own eyes. Peace with you. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. The Lord is with us. God is with you. You can feel near you. You're not alone. You can see with your own eyes. He is with you. I wrote this about 16 years ago. At the time, I used to deal a lot with loneliness. I used to struggle a lot with loneliness. And in one night, God gave me the grace to realize that He was always with me, and I wanted to share this message. And so God gave me the grace to write this song. It's very personal to me. It was very impactful at the time, and it was a long process to be healed from the feeling of loneliness. But today, I don't want to talk about that. That was just just to illustrate the graces that God gave me. And if you see here in this channel, you'll be able to see the other songs I was able to record in a more professional manner. I have Until Your Kingdom Come. I have Your Life Changed My Living, which was the song I recorded at the start of the last video. And I have as well... Anyway, today I wanted to keep talking about from the moment when I had that experience with God, my heart recoils within me. I want to continue from that period in my life, which was February 2017, forward. So I showed you that on Lent in 2017, following that episode, I got rid of all pride that was within me that I was cultivating with my appearance. So I shaved my hair, I shaved my beard, I took my earrings off, and I took pretty much everything. So vanity of vanities, everything is vanity. So I was able to get rid of the vanity. And that was just one step. But, you know, there's a saint in the church that says when you give one step towards God, God gives 10 steps towards you. That means when you do the bare minimum in order to do anything for God, God rewards your willingness to do something, and He does 10 times more to give you the graces that you're seeking. And so it was a very difficult period for me to, after having lived in such a deplorable, to get back on track. And I tried. I tried very hard. I tried with all my energy, and I was full of joy, full of the grace of God. You know, I went to confession, and Lent was different in 2017, 9 years ago, because of that experience. But it was a big struggle because Jesus says, I will open here actually, I didn't prepare this, but John chapter 8, verse 34 forward. Let me get actually John chapter 8. So then, verse 31, then Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. They answered him, we are descendants of Abraham and have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean by saying you will be made free? And verse 34, Jesus answered them, very truly I tell you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. And so that was me giving myself entirely to the sinful life I was living, and I couldn't stop that lifestyle until the miracle that happened. But still, you know, there is a physical reality, there's a spiritual reality, and there's a psychological reality where you mold yourself to the sin and you create a necessity where sometimes it doesn't exist. It's like in drugs, when you start using drugs, they call about a period of to accustom your body without the drugs. So there is a sort of a suffering that you go through. Is a period of adaptation. So you're not gonna input or intake those disgraceful things in your body again. So it's more or less the same thing in the spiritual world. So you got used to the sin. Now you need to suffer to purge that sort of a lifestyle that you were living. So I went through this, but I was full of joy. You know, I received an amazing grace because people were praying for me. And the most important thing that I told a friend a few weeks ago, there's three things that I would consider the most important things in his life. The first one is Jesus in the Eucharist. And I'm very sad to know that there are so many people who call themselves Christians that don't know the Eucharist. The Eucharist is the most important thing we have on this earth. Second thing is Our Lady. And again, not only Christians, but atheists, pagans, people who believe in loads of gods. I'm very sorry for them because they don't know and they don't have Our Lady as their mother. And just because Saint Louis de Montfort said, who does not have Our Lady as mother cannot have God as father, just to leave that for you if you know any Protestants. But anyway, and the third most important thing I told my friend is prayer. Prayer is the third most important thing we have on this earth. So people were praying for me. I wasn't expecting anything to happen in my life. I wasn't expecting to change overnight. I wasn't expecting to, out of the misery, out of the darkness, out of the nonsense life that I was living, that I was gonna be able to receive a grace from God in a miraculous way as I received. If you didn't watch, you can watch the previous video, My Heart Recoils Within Me, where I tell that experience. But after that, I wrote a song. I wrote actually, I think, 2 songs in Portuguese. And God was giving me so many graces. I was recording some of the texts that I wrote. And I moved home to live in Templemore Avenue. If you know Belfast, you know that is east, and that's the heart of Protestantism, where they do their parades on the 12th of July. But anyway, that never impacted me because I lived, for the most of the time I lived in Belfast, in East Belfast, always amongst the Protestants. But the Protestants, they pretty much don't practice their own religion, and I was maybe the only person practicing amongst the area in Templemore Avenue, and I lived there for 6 months. After receiving this grace to be in communion with God, and I was working in Robinson's, the pub here in Belfast, and I was trying to go to Mass every Sunday. I was trying to say my prayers and to read the catechism, read the Bible, to listen to musics, songs that would inspire prayer, and got back to my practice of saying Psalms in the morning, Psalms in the afternoon, and use the Psalms as a means of prayer as well. And I moved to this house, and there was a girl there that was very nice. And I said, you know what? I will need to stay alone. But in saying that, I sort of had some feelings, some instincts, some things inside of me that were bringing my mind to my ex-girlfriend, the one that broke up with me in Brazil, who I met through the consecration to Our Lady. And I sent a message to her, and she wasn't expecting anything, but she said that the fact that I sent a message was an answer to her prayer, because she was praying for me. And we used to have a sort of a engagement ring. When you date someone in Brazil, it's common for you to have rings to show that you are with that person as a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so she still had that ring, and she put the ring in St. Michael's hand, and she was praying St. Michael's prayer for me. And I said, very nice. And we sort of go back talking to each other. But then there was this girl at the house, and she was Italian, and I am half Italian, and I was always interested in learning Italian, and we got to talk to each other, and I said, maybe my ex-girlfriend broke up with me because I moved to Belfast. And I think there's going to be no way for us to get back together. And, this is all illusional. And in the middle of my attempt to live in a state of grace, I had suggestions that obviously were not from God, because I thought to myself, she's in Brazil, I'm here, how she can come and we can see if the relationship can progress. And then selfishly, I said, you know what, it's not going to work. Well, whatever, she's praying for me, she's praying to St. Michael. Maybe she has something to do with the fact that I got back to the life of grace. But I was intrigued by this girl, and we started to date. And I said, it's not going to work. I sent a message to her, the one in Brazil, and I said, it's not going to work out. I'm here, you're there. So let's us just live our lives. But not that because I didn't want to talk more to her, but just because I met this other girl. And, when you do something to God, and when you are weak, sometimes the devil put things in your path that you think are going to lead you to God or are coming from God. But clearly, you can only know by the fruits. And the first fruit is this girl. She didn't want to go to the church at all. In fact, she had some rage against God because her mom died of cancer. and she blamed God for that. But anyway, it's a long story. To make this story short, she wanted everything but God. She wanted anything but go to the church. And it was a tough period in my life because I didn't want to live in sin. I didn't want to spend more time, in the illusions of this world. But unfortunately, I did. And so we were dating for 5 months. And for 5 months, I was in the Legion of Mary, back and forth, going one week and not going the other week, and doing things here and there, traveling with her and working in a pub. And it was a very difficult lifestyle, sometimes. And I think this is very important. You need to pray to get a good job, because the environment you live in sometimes can influentiate the life that you live. And if you are surrounded by people that don't believe in God, they can influentiate you to not to think of faith as such a serious matter, but just something. Just as a matter of what you're gonna eat tomorrow, just treat faith as a secondary thing, because what matters is your feelings. What matters is your intentions. What matters is the energy. But this is all nonsense. Being in the Legion of Mary and having people who were trying to help me to quit sin and to have a holy life, that is very important as well. And that is in the book of Corinthians. I didn't prepare this as well, but let me get this piece of scriptures here. Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. So sometimes we need to pray for a good job, to be at least surrounded by people who are neutral or people who are going to bring you to God. And thank God I joined the Legion of Mary, and I had people telling me of, or at least reminded me. Because, many young people nowadays, they do not have that grace. Because they are surrounded by people who think that their lifestyle, the sinful life that they live, the mortal sins that they commit, the offenses that they make to God are normal. And sometimes all we need is one person to tell us, no, that's not right. You were not made for this life that you are living. You are wasting your youth. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting your gifts that God gave you for nothing, nonsense. And sometimes one person, a good company, can make a total difference. That's why I would advise you to join the Legion of Mary. But anyway, so people in the Legion of Mary were, as a group, organizing a pilgrimage to Medjugorje. And I have never heard about Medjugorje in my life. And there is a sort of a contradiction that some people think that Medjugorje, Our Lady doesn't appear there. Some people say that is from the devil. Some people say, you can say whatever. I'm not going to talk here about the theology of Medjugorje. I'm not going to talk about Our Lady's appearing there or not. But I can assure you that I went to Medjugorje one person, and when I came back, I was another person. Because I don't know if you watched the movie The Passion of the Christ. There is a very touching scene where Jesus is carrying the cross, and he falls, and he's in the straight side to Our Lady. And Our Lady when she sees Jesus stumbling, carrying the cross, she, in her memory, remembers that when Jesus was a child and he would fall, she would go and help him. It's the same thing 30 years after, and Our Lady sees her son fall and carrying the cross with all the pain, and she goes and she tries to help him to raise up. And Jesus looks, see that gaze. Sometimes that's everything that we need to change our lives. One gaze. Jesus, the way Jesus looked at Our Lady in that scene, he said this: "See, I renew all things." Through his passion, through his suffering, through his cross. And this is, St. John wrote this, Revelation chapter 20, verse 5. And the one who was seated on the throne said, "See, I am making all things new." I arrived in Medjugorje. I was dating this girl that only wanted to know about sin. I was having insomnia for about 2 or 3 months. I was looking to buy a house in Belfast and I couldn't buy. There was a lot of issues, and I got a sale agreed in South Belfast. And everything was happening for me not to be able to get the keys. I don't know what was going on, but I couldn't finalize the purchase of the house. There was so many issues. I failed my driving test. I couldn't pass the test, and I regarded myself as a complete failure. Everything in my life, in every aspect that you can think of, spiritually, I was living in mortal sin. Psychologically, I was having insomnia. I was thinking I'm a failure. I cannot even pass a driving test. I'm a disgrace. And emotionally, and in every aspect in my life, it was bad. I cannot think of anything that was good. But I went to Medjugorje, and in the bus, Felipe, the one who invited me to join the Legion of Mary, my friend, he said, "May this trip to Medjugorje be a turning point in our lives." I had no idea what he was talking about. I had no idea what Medjugorje was. I had no idea of what could happen there. What I know is I arrived in that place and there was a mass celebrated in English at 10 a.m. in the first day, and I felt the presence of Our Lady there. I felt that Our Lady was walking in the church, and I started to cry. Maybe because of my sins, maybe because of her presence, maybe because of the love of other people who are in the Legion of Mary with me. I don't know. But I was crying in Mass, and it was so special. And I took a picture. I'm going to show you it here as well. I took a picture of me in front of the text wrote in their language there. And I had I was wearing some sunglasses because I was crying. My eyes were red. And that was fine. I thought, so special. And especially when you are living in sin, you don't have experiences with God, You're not touched by grace because you put a wall between yourself and God. And it's not that God doesn't want to give you grace. This is because you say to God, not with your words, but with your actions, "I don't want you." So you close yourself in His wall. But I received such a special grace in Mass, and I went to confession, and I poured out my heart, and I confessed my sins. And afterwards, in the afternoon, there was a moment when we were sort of going up to a hill and there was a statue of Our Lady, and that was the place where she appeared for the first time. I I cannot tell you what they told me, but I remember that I went to that place, and it was rocks around the statue of Our Lady where she appeared for the first time. And I knelt down there and I started to cry because I could feel the presence of Our Lady there. You know, and I couldn't stop crying. And the presence of Our Lady was so strong. And God, after confession, He allowed me to feel the presence of His mother to an extent that she spoke to me. Now, if you remember in the last video, I told you when Our Lady sat on the sofa beside me, she said, "What have you done with the graces I gave you?" And I told her, "I don't know, Mom. I was fooled." Now, kneeling there, crying, Our Lady said this to me: "Your life is starting now." I remember my friend's wife saying this: "How many graces we received in this pilgrimage." And I was thinking, I cannot measure, I don't know. But straight away, the first thing, when I came back to Belfast from Medjugorje, I broke up with my girlfriend, the Italian. And that was the first grace I received. The second one, I had peace, and the insomnia stayed at Our Lady's feet because I didn't have insomnia anymore. The third thing is like Our Lady or my guardian angel inspired me, and they said, "Go and try the driving test again." And I said, I'm stupid, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to. And she put a person on my path, Paul, who became my instructor, and I had 5 classes with him, and he showed me everything that I needed to know, whatever it is. And he said, "You do this, you do it that way, and study this way, and all these things." And I passed my driving test, and I got my driving license, and I was very happy. But then November, the 27th of November 2014, I consecrate myself through the method of St. Louis de Montfort. And in that week, in 2017, Our Lady gave me the grace. The process of the purchase of my house in Belfast was finalized. And my friend Brian from the Legion of Mary, he brought me the keys because I was working, and so he was able to go to the estate agent. He got the keys, and he brought me the keys in the week of Our Lady of Graces in 2017. At the end of the year as well, in December, I said, there's no way, because Our Lady, she gave me all these graces, and she's the reason for everything that is happening in my life now. It was clear to me that Our Lady was putting my life in track again in every area, emotionally, spiritually, and I really decided to join the Legion of Mary for good. And I had my house, I passed my test, and I could drive, I bought a car, and and I decided to talk to my ex-girlfriend in Brazil. And in March in 2018, after we spoke and decided, I proposed. And for 9 months, we said a novena to Our Lady. Don't know if you know about this. It's starts on the 25th of March and goes until the 24th of December. It's a 9-month novena, asking that God would make us fertile. And we got married on the feast of the Immaculate Conception, the 8th of December 2018. And the rest is story now. But God, true. So you see how things are linked. People were praying for me. People in the Legion of Mary were pushing me to live in a state of grace. Through the Legion of Mary, I went to Medjugorje. Through Medjugorje, Our Lady gave me back all the graces I lost because of my choices, my bad choices, my sin. And through that, I got married, and now I'm waiting for my 5th child to be born in November this year. So prayer works, you see. But just be aware of what you ask in prayer. Everything can be sorted, everything can be fixed, everything can work through prayer. And I'm a living witness of the power of prayer, of the power of the intercession of Our Lady, and of the power of the Blessed Sacrament. If I may, I will finish with this poem that you will not understand now, but you will understand better in the next videos. So I wrote this poem in 2022 when I had this insight that everything that worked in my life was through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And so this is called Enveloped by You. Mother, from my earliest age at my birth, you were already there to receive me and protect me before the consecration of that devout nurse who took me in her arms and offered my life to you, not knowing of the trials that would lie on my bewildered horizon of contradictions and hardships. You carried me in your arms and upheld my life. When I was wounded, you tended to me, always hidden, securing my protection and relief, granting the bare minimum needed to keep me safe from the spirit of death that surrounded me and sought to devour me. From the countless moments when danger overtook me, when darkness filled my days and held me captive, but there, too, you were present, amid the stunned darkness of ignorance, of sin, of recklessness, of impurity, and of weakness. When I wept, you dried my tears. How many times? And laid them before God. In my hidden and morbid desires to end the most precious gift I had received, the precious life that God had granted me, Our Lady obtained for me the grace of deliverance, which allowed me to live the most sublime encounter with your Holy Son. Jesus entered the world through your most holy womb and entered my life through your intercession in so singular a way. So many privileges I did not deserve, and you obtained them for me. So many graces I could never have received, and yet they found their way to me. It was through your hands that I received divine providence, love, and tenderness. It was beneath your mantle I passed through my darkest hours. It was hand in hand with you that I crossed the most tortuous paths, and amid the malignant illusion of all that slays my soul in the feasts, the drunkenness, the reveling, and the sleepless nights, I was lifted up by you 1,000 times after falling into accursed sins. Yet, nothing I ever did drove you from me. I thank you with all my heart. The mystery of your presence that was revealed at last, in the most fitting moment, at the hour the Father decided to receive also my freedom, which I had guarded as something inviolable, yet used to bind myself to the darkness that guided me with my animal instincts. Your mother's love consecrated me with graces, care, tenderness, and protection. Lawfully and juridically, in the spiritual and human world, I surrounded to you my goods, all that I could ever gather in every dimension. I surrendered to you the fruits of my prayers and of my good works. I surrendered to you my past, my present, and my future. I surrendered to you all that there is in me, all that I am, and all that I have. May all that surrounds me feel the presence of the Virgin. May Mary be in every place where my name shall reach. May my actions be permeated by your fragrance. May my prayers be offered with your Amen. May my life and my family come to know the power of your presence. I'm all yours, my mother, and all that I possess, literally, to the depth of my soul belongs to you. It is yours, and is at your disposal. I thank you and I honor you in a manner wretched and meager, feeble and unworthy, yet I do so with my whole heart. I love you, my mother, and I wish each day to be more enveloped by you. For all that I have done in my story and will yet do, for all that you have set aside for my descendants, for all that you have provided before the throne of Christ, for all that you have yet prepared to come to pass, be it done in me according to your will. Be it done in me as you desire to do. Be it done in me now and for all eternity. I ask only to learn not to dishonor the promises of that 27th day. Amen.